November 10th, 2020, or the 2020 Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We're starting off announcing a canceled public hearing. This would be at the 6:50 p.m. slot, and the canceled public hearing this evening is Camille Naratil, Nawratil, and Pa-Her, that's Herpah. Are the applicants, and this is at 18 South Fisk Street in Montauk, tax map number 300-28-7-22.1. And this will be heard at another time. There was an issue with noticing, I believe. So we will move right away to our first scheduled public hearing for the evening. The applicant is Rebecca Naster, that's Knaster. And the lot size and location is 12,355 square feet at 11 Windward in East Hampton. Tax map number 300-103-5-43. Description is to allow an approximately 350 square foot patio to remain within rear yard lot line setbacks. The relief sought is one variance of 4.7 feet from section 255-11-10 table of dimensional regulations of the town code is required to allow the patio to remain 5.3 feet from the rear yard lot line where a 10-foot setback is required and any other relief necessary. This is in a B zoning residence zoning district, and the flood zone here is X, and the secret class here is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
Yes, let me just get me up and running here with doing two things at one time. I apologize.
It's okay, take your time.
Do we have our applicant back in?
Matt,
Not
Matt,
as
can
of
we let
yet.
her back in?
No, not as of yet.
you can let her in, Matt, while Nancy Lynn takes care of this. Matt, if you would, please, at LTV.
I would love to, but I don't see her name.
Oh. Well, Rebecca, if you were, I believe
She was here and we kicked her out because she came too early.
So Rebecca, if you're listening, please call back in as soon as possible. So council, should we go, well, let's see, first we'll take care of one
Hang on.
affidavit first,
Well, I know she needs to be part of the
even with this.
participating on it. We do have, it is proper, but I just want to get, see if I can get her in here.
Right. Are you gonna try call her or something, or?
I have, yeah, let me go off of
Okay,
the meeting in just a second. Let me just try.
okay, so we'll just take a break. We'll just take a little bit of a recess here, I guess. We'll break, board members. While we take the break, actually, I would like to announce that we do have a new ZBA secretary who's with us this evening. His name is Kyle Vorpal, and this is Kyle's first meeting, and we're very pleased to have Kyle. Many of you remember Stuart Vorpal, his grandfather, and Mary, his grandmother, and Susan, his mother. So, Kyle, welcome aboard, and we look forward to work with you.
Thank you.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if
Matt, what's happening is when you remove somebody, it's not
Can't get
letting
back
them
in.
come back in. That's why Roy can't come back in and why we can't get our applicant back in. So there's something on your end you need to do in order to give them the ability to get back in.
Thanks, Nancy Lynn.
Okay, I will, I'll see what I can do here.
Mr. Chairman, would you entertain a motion to approve the draft minutes from October 27th?
Thank you, Tim, but they have not been posted. I don't believe they've been posted yet. Unless I missed something. Oh, from the 27th. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're online.
Yes, those. I'm sorry. Last week's were not posted. That's why we didn't meet last week. Yeah.
Right, 2 weeks ago.
Then yes, I would. If you want to make that motion, Tim, please do.
Yes, then I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the ZBA meeting from October 27th, 2020 as written.
I'll second that.
All right, I'll concur. Got me, Terry.
She got him. And Ed, you concur, Ed?
Sure.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Okay, thank you, Tim. Let's see, council. I don't know. Let's see, Matt. How's it going, Matt?
She's
Shall we not start the field report?
She's trying to call in.
Yeah,
She's-
okay.
She trying to participate. She is calling in, so check the phone calls.
Okay, I'm checking everything while shooting a text to our chief technical advisor.
Okay.
We do have a call. I do not know who this is, though. It's just a phone number.
Let's give it a whirl. It's probably her.
Is it a 917?
It is not.
Okay, she's
Well,
probably calling from the landline.
Yeah, let's give it a whirl.
You can let her in. It's probably her. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Rebecca.
Okay, Rebecca,
Yes.
great.
Thank you.
So
I'm
we're-
so sorry for that difficulty.
Okay,
It's
that's
okay.
right, Matt.
I'm going to see if I can get in right now. It says I can join the meeting now. I just need to put in
Okay,
the.
try joining.
Uh,
This is the video, yeah. And
Okay, I just need to put in. I think it's. Let me just make sure this is 917-4205. I believe. Hold on. 917-4205.
Don't share that with everybody,
Oh, I'm
please.
sorry. I forgot.
Yeah, we'll get bombed.
Oh my God! You think if this was a Swiss bank account? There is a Swiss bank
Wish.
account. Okay, let me see. Yeah, the meeting. 1 second. I'm not telling you. Let me see. Hold on. I got to see what this is. I wrote it on a piece of paper. Wait a minute. Give me a second.
Okay.
804. Oh God, I wrote it. Hold on. I'm going to have to look it up. Wait a second. This is not working out here for me. I can't see because it's on a piece of dark paper.
You're
Hold
okay.
on. All right. 804. 1 second. I think it's 904. 804. Shit. Hold on. 014. Okay, I think I got it. That's what happens when you write on dark paper. Okay, let's see if this is it. No, because I was removed by the host. They won't let me in.
Okay. All right. Well, you're in because you're on the call and we
Okay,
are ready.
I don't
to
think, we
begin,
don't really
so-
have to see Rebecca. Rebecca, can you see us?
No, she's,
No, because you took me away. I just went in there and so I wanted to just be there. I really wasn't looking to hear anything, but then you removed me. So now I can't get back
Well,
in
we
again.
do that we don't just do that to you, but the problem is there was a glitch with the system. So typically,
Okay, whatever.
we don't allow the public in until it's their time to speak and their public hearing.
Could Matt re-invite her?
Matt, you want to tell us?
I'm seriously working on that.
In the participant list?
Can
maybe?
we, council, can we move on to other business then for now until we work this out? Council?
we could, since we do have the hearing time available after this, we could do other things and
Yes.
then hopefully get her in. So we could
Yeah.
do that. Yes.
Okay. Well, why don't we
Okay,
jump
you
to
want-
for
you
now?
want-
So,
So what do
yeah,
you want me to
Rebecca,
do?
if you
Leave?
just hold off, we'll try to get you in. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to hang up now.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Matt, you're going to work on that or?
Right now, I
Yeah,
am.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move along, Matt, and you let us know. Keep us posted, please. Okay, we also are going to have a time slot available up until 7:10.
Yes, so we can do this in the second slot and we can go right ahead.
Good.
Chair, we have
Yeah,
a modification. we
Yeah,
could
I was
do?
thinking we do the modification. Let's do that, okay?
Okay.
So board members, we have the modification, as you know, for Plata LLC at 254 Old Montauk Highway, Montauk, New York, tax map number 300-87-3-3. And board members, as you recall.
Roy, are you recused on this one? Who's recused?
Which one?
Roy is
Oh,
Plata
Roy, so you can
Plata
just, you can go on mute. Roy is fine if you just want to go on mute. And we'll move along. I'll continue. Thanks, Roy. Board member Delaney is recusing himself.
Guys,
Yeah.
if you will, just a second before I did, Matt, I looked up allowing removed participants or panelists to rejoin.
Yeah,
If it says in the navigation menu, click settings, click the menu tab under in meeting, verify that allow removed participants to rejoin is enabled.
well, good for you, Roy.
I don't know if you got that, Matt, but you can Google it.
Well, yeah, I heard it. It was just way too fast for me to comprehend.
Okay,
So click,
So it's-
click settings, go into settings, meeting, and verify that allow.
Where's settings?
By the three dots. Yeah, click that.
Do we all do that? No, just Matt does that.
No,
Just Matt does that.
Just Matt.
he's gonna get us up and running.
Okay, Roy, if you want to give them those directions one more time, and then we can move on with this.
Yes, Matt, just write this down. Settings, the menu tab, and in meeting, verify that allow remove participant to rejoin is enabled. So you have to enable the allow remove participants to join.
To rejoin, yeah. Okay, thanks, Roy.
Okay,
Okay, thanks. So we'll move along with this modification. So board members, as I was saying, you all recall this, I'm sure. It was an issue with a pool patio and the 5-foot separation, and this board requested that the planter continue all the way along the pool as a separation between the pool. Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Whoever did, Brian. Oh, Brian did. Thank you, Brian. Brian Frank. So as you recall, the applicant has come back with the extended planter, as you see. Brian, maybe you could put your cursor where that is, if you wouldn't mind. There we go. Thanks, Brian. So now, if you could go to the stairs, now they've reduced the stair to a 4-foot width stair at the far end of the pool, as you see. And this has been reviewed with Ann Glennon, our principal building inspector, and she is fine with this. And this is exactly what we were looking for. This is in board member Berger and Johann's Montauk district. So Terry and Ed, if you want to comment first, or.
Yeah, no, I saw the documentation that Brian sent out and the cover letter from Joe Halsey.
Mhm.
So now fine, and the determination by the building inspector. So I'm okay with approving this modification. You want me to make a motion to approve the mod?
Well, let's just run around. Everyone else okay with this,
Yeah.
board members?
No, okay.
Don't make
Ed.
a motion, because I'm gonna have to draft it before you can adopt it.
Yeah, we will. But Ed, you're good with it. Ed, are you good? Ed, I think you're
Ed,
muted.
you're on mute.
Ed, you got to unmute.
You're on mute, Ed.
Ed,
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I think it's right in line with what was discussed, shortening the deck. It sounds like it's exactly what was described before we wanted to see happen. Yes.
I agree. Thank you. Tim?
Same here, I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Okay, if you'd make a motion, please, Terry. Thank you.
Well, no, I'm not making a motion.
No, we don't
Oh,
have
no,
a
I'm sorry. We'll
motion.
draft it. Yep.
So-
Thanks.
Nancy
Got it.
will draft that, right?
Okay.
We're
thanks,
good with the
Nancy.
modification and to allow
Yeah.
for the change in the
There's the
plan,
4-foot width.
site plan so that they will avoid the need for additional side yard variances.
Yeah, we got the new survey that's dated
Yep, I
10/26.
have that. Yep.
Okay.
And then, okay, thank you, Nancy, and thanks, Terry. And Ed. Next, just going down below that on the agenda under G, extensions of time, board members, we're going to hold off on 133 Mulford LLC. Eleni is looking into something on that application, so we will have that on for next week's agenda. Okay, so we will not be doing that extension. And we've taken care of the minutes. And now,
Matt, how are we doing on
Yeah, Matt.
getting Ms. Krasner in? Matt?
Matt, can you hear us?
No, okay. Why don't we switch then to adopting the written resolutions that we
Yeah.
have?
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
idea.
We have,
I can,
Taylor, Dina, Rita, and
Yeah.
Heidi Ho.
Rita, you keep throwing me a change up here.
yeah, so we have Taylor, I'll read in the first one just at the beginning, and Terry, you can pick it up. So we have the first is Taylor and Dana Rita, REDA, at 42 Agnew Avenue in Montauk, tax map number 300-31-2-34. And Terry, if you'd pick that up, please.
Yeah, if everyone recalls, this is at 42 Agnew Avenue in Montauk, and it's to approval requested for some decking to be installed under second-story decking and to allow a large outdoor shower and fencing to remain. And mitigation is to install a new IA system with a retaining wall. And there's a covenant restriction that in what was the garage area, now storage area, that plumbing will never be installed in that. And this was a unanimous approval by the board. So in the matter of Taylor and Dana Rita, 42 Agnew Avenue in Montauk, tax map 300-031-02-34, make a motion to approve the determination as written.
Second.
Concur.
And I concur as well. Thanks, Terry. Okay, next we have Heidi Ho at 212 Shore Road in Amagansett, tax map number 300-85-1-6. And board members, you recall this was heard originally at August 18th of this year. And this has to do with the purpose of this application was raising the first floor of this building 5.7 feet and renovating the 861 square foot residence and reconfiguring approximately 500 square feet of decking and installing a new IA sanitary system on this parcel of land here. And there was a shed that was being removed and things of that nature. This was approved by a majority of the board. I believe board member Brenneman dissented on this. And this is in my district. So I would like to make a motion to approve the determination for Heidi Ho at 212 Shore Road in Amagansett, New York, as written.
Second.
Concur.
And I believe I can concur that as well.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, board members. Okay, let's see. Matt, any progress?
Well, you're in luck. We have other things we can do.
Yep, let's see. We have,
We have 2 decisions to do tonight.
oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
So we have, I don't know
of
which
course
one
we
you
do,
want to
yeah.
do first.
Should we start with Gregory? So board members, item number 4 on the agenda of the work session, B, post-hearing decisions. The first one is Gregory Buhay, Buhay, at 15 Jackson Road in Montauk, tax map number 300-70-4-17. I believe this was heard before board member Johan was on the board. So this is in Terry's Montauk district. Terry, if you'd like to pick it up, and the planners would be great if Michael.
Mike's bringing it up. There we
Michael's
go.
bringing it up. Excellent. Thanks, Michael.
Okay, that looks like the latest survey. It's dated August 25th. Is that right, Mike? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the latest survey dated. This is located in Montauk at 15 Jackson Road, which is in Hither Hills area of Montauk, and it's for a redevelopment of the property. It's a natural resources special permit. Wetland is across Jackson Road from the current residence. And This is, the house itself is in 2,421 square feet with 555 feet of decking, a 260-foot pool, infinity edge pool, and it's all within 150 foot of the wetlands. Actually, the house is 138.8 feet from the wetlands. And the northern property line, there is some revegetation, about 2,027 square feet of revegetation that you see in the green area onto the Jackson Road side, which is across from the wetlands, and on the southern property line of the house. And I feel that this does meet the natural resources special permit standards. It's a small amount. It's 138.8 feet away from the wetlands, where 150 feet is required. And because of the revegetation, there are a couple of modifications that the applicant made. They narrowed the scope of the driveway, I believe it was, and a gate. And they did submit some drawings and drainage plan. But I do feel it meets the natural resources special permit standards. I think it is in keeping with the purpose of zoning in 255-111. And I don't have much else to say about it, but I will be looking to approve this. We did, there is in the TAM one other thing, that the planner mentioned that this property now is pretty much maxed out to the building and total coverage of this property. So I think we should condition or make a statement in our determination, if this is approved, that that there will be, very minimal, if any, further development of this property.
ZBA, may I interrupt?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's try and have the first applicant try again, and
Okay, I'll give her a call.
hopefully we can let her in.
Okay, thanks. We'll go ahead and just wrap this thing up. Board members, thank you, Terry, for your comments. Roy, a comment? Or we should have Ed stepping away from this because he wasn't here then. Roy, please.
Sure. I agree with Member Berger's assessment. I might want to add a few things. There were 6 letters of support from the neighbors. The leaching pools were 168 from the westland. Most of the house, or 2/3 of the house, are outside of jurisdiction, and about 574 square feet fall within 150. Let's see. She brought up, Steve Maraska did the drainage calculations, which was identified as being, over conservative. And there was also a construction protocol that was submitted by Drew Bennett. So I do agree that, yeah, so.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Tim?
Yeah, I would agree as well. This is an NRSP, and so our concern is really protecting the environment, specifically the wetlands on this. The planning department's note said at one point, project does not pose a significant threat to the associated wetlands. However, the intensity of development does raise cause for concern. This, of course, was written before the additional work that came in on this, specifically the revegetation, the drainage plan, and all the letters of support. So I think the mitigation more than outweighs the development here. I think it meets the standards, and I'm looking to approve this.
Thank you, Tim. I agree with my fellow board members. I don't have really any other comments, just to say that as Tim, they mentioned, at the end of the day, with all the revisions and what transpired here, I think it's a good application, and I'm fine with approving this. We good there, council, on that one?
Yeah, I missed a few comments that Roy made, but I'll I'll rewatch. Unfortunately, our applicant was unable to get back in.
Yeah,
She
we-
still gets the same error message.
Okay, council, the drainage plan is Maresca dated 8/24. Yeah, 8/24, and the survey is 8/25, 2020, and the Drew Bennett's construction protocol plan, that was also dated that date. There was a submission from Brian Matthews with all those documents and the letters of support for it.
Right. And I believe we also have, I think, at least on my copy of the survey, I believe there's a error on the date that it was received by the board, because it was revised on August 25th, 2020. Mine is stamped receive August 20th. So that would be impossible to receive it before it was drafted. So I think that that's an error. So with the board's approval, to change the receive date to the 25th.
Yeah, that was corrected in whiteout on the copy that I received.
Yeah, please do,
Yeah,
Nancy.
to the
Lynn.
25th, but yeah, go ahead.
Please do. Okay. I guess we'll move on with the next one until we get this resolved.
Matt, she doesn't have a Zoom account. She's coming in by invitation. So there's not another account she can come in on. She's coming in on our invitation.
Okay, I'll relay that to Jason.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on next to Eric Pettigrew at 9 Private Road in Springs, tax map number 300-120-1-8.1. And this is in Vice Chair Delene's Springs District. Roy, if you pick it up from here, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is an application that is on private road in Springs. It's actually off of 3 Mile Harbor Road, situated between 3 Mile Harbor Road and the marina to the, I guess, the west of private road. The house notice is 1,920 square feet. It is the key to this application is the orientation of the house, which is the cause for the pyramid application. The orientation of the house is such that designed by Bill Chaliff, who is a well-known energy efficient architect, designed this house in orientation to receive maximum energy efficiency. Therefore, it pushed the house into a point of, where it appears to the pyramid. There, the house, I mean, I'm in support of this application. I think the application is well done. It's a 2-bedroom house. It's got a 980 square foot footprint. There is no jurisdiction on the DEC. There's let's see, it's 38 feet from within the wetlands. 130, the septic is 137 feet from the wetlands, which is really the minimum necessary because it placed the septic in the most reasonable spot for that. There's a 3.9 foot pyramid variance. And the issue that also the thing here is one of the reasons why I'm looking to approve this too is because the property is to the east is owned by the town. The neighbor to the north was Andrew Strong, was strongly in favor of this application. And then the applicant offered a 85-foot, a vegetative buffer, 85 foot from the wetlands as mitigation. They will also covenant and a restriction on the clearing line. So therefore, I'm going to recommend approval. I think it meets the NRSB standards. I think the pyramid variance is a result of the orientation of the house. However, it does not affect really any of the neighbors. You can hardly see the house from anywhere. So I'm in favor of approving this.
Thank you, Roy. Terry?
Yeah, I agree with Co-Chair Deline. Yeah, on the house, just a few comments. It's a 7-foot variance to be 93 feet from the wetland. And in the hearing, came out only 38 feet of the house corner is that less than 100 feet away, not the entire house. And I too was impressed by the passive solar design of this. It was intriguing. And as Roy mentioned, that's the reason that the pyramid was needed on the west side there. So I too am in favor of approving this application.
Thank you, Terry. And I believe this preceded Ed's involvement, I believe, on the board, correct? Yeah. Tim, if you would, Tim, comments?
Sure. I did, by the way, I'm in agreement with my fellow members on this. I think it's a modest and a responsible development of this property. I do think it meets the standards. The one thing I wanted to check on was whether or not we received an updated survey. There was an indication at the hearing that the survey that we had initially was incorrect. So I just wanted to, I think if you go down, if whoever's scrolling, if you scroll to the bottom there, okay, this is an updated one. And I think it was with regard to, it was either clearing or coverage.
Or the buffer, someone said?
It was the buffer. It was August 5th survey needs to be updated to reflect the buffer.
And didn't we get a survey on August 20th?
Yes. This
Or
is
they
an
did
updated
one, but maybe
here.
we didn't have it yet? Was that possible?
We did not have it at the date of the hearing.
Yeah. But the survey should be
So-
dated 8/20.
Okay, so this is the 805, or is this the new 820 yet or not?
No, it's dated 8/5.
So then we'll need to condition the approval on that.
Okay, all right, hang on a second. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused of what. So did we ask for a survey before?
Nancy.
Nancy Lynn, you're getting garbled. Your audio is garbled, Nancy Lynn?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
No, it still is.
Hear me now?
No, we can hear you. It's just garbled. What did we have to do last time? Who knew that trick?
If I sign out, but then I can't hear the discussion.
Oh, God. Is that what you had to do last time, Nancy Lynn? Sign
Yes,
out?
I had to completely sign out and start over again.
Wow.
It happened to me once, and I realized that my Bluetooths were connected to the computer and the phone at the same time, and I took my phone off Bluetooth. I don't know if that is.
Do you want to just, for the heck of it, try shut your phone off, Nancy Lynn? Does that, or
My
put it on
phone's not on the same.
airplane mode?
same
Yeah, it's
connection.
not, okay, yeah,
I mean, I can turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone, but I
yeah.
don't think I have.
Who's showing us the survey? Is that
I
Michael?
am. I'm trying to,
That's Michael.
Mike, do you know if we got the survey that was dated 8/20?
not to my knowledge, I don't believe we've received one. I believe, if I remember correctly, I think the concern was not necessarily the buffer, but the actual update of the calculations. I think the buffer was depicted on this survey, but the actual clearing calculations and what that meant were from a previous survey. I think, I'm trying to recall.
I
think it was
took
gonna
the
be
note that it was 85 foot
Right,
difference.
Less, yeah,
Yeah.
85 feet less, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have it. I'm looking on,
So we
Yeah,
could.
my
Having the notes is that it should have
Still
been,
break it up.
all right, I guess I'll just sign out.
Why don't you use chat, Nancy Lynn?
I can't participate by chat.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so before you sign out, let's take a break. We'll have to hold off on this for a second.
Yeah, I think, hold on, I'm looking at the proposed clearing calculations. So here's the older survey. And the clearing calculations, proposed final clearing is to be 9,421. And this is the old one without the buffer,
Right,
or the extended buffer up here.
yeah,
This is the one that the board received just prior to the hearing, I believe, but the clearing calculations are the same. So the proposed clearing, this would have to go down by that additional buffer area. If Nancy Lynn's okay with it, maybe able to condition it, receiving it prior to a BP, getting the updated survey then.
Nancy Lynn?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we
Am
can
I
hear
still
you.
garbled?
Still garbled.
It is.
All right, I've got to leave and sign in. I can't participate this way.
Well, we can understand you, Nancy Lynn. We can actually understand you. It's just a little garbled, so we can understand what you're
Well,
saying.
it's not going to be in the transcript. It needs
Yeah.
to be in the
Yeah.
transcript.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I will sign back.
Nancy Lynn, before you sign out, Matt, do we have this worked out where Nancy Lynn is going to be able to sign back in?
Yeah, because I'm leaving. I'm leaving on my own rather than
Okay.
being kicked.
John, if she leaves, she'll be able to sign back in.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll wait for you, Nancy. We'll hold off till you get back. Okay.
Wow, this is the first night I thought we've been
I know,
good
technical
so
difficult.
far.
Difficult.
Pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, it was smooth as a well-oiled machine here. Any progress, Matt, on your end? Matt? LTV, you there?
Crickets.
Yeah, is that cricket in my house? It sounds, I think it might be my
Oh,
kitchen.
yeah.
I think it's ironically on our screen.
Yeah. I guess Matt is not hearing us. Matt, you're not hearing us? Okay, maybe he's on the phone. We'll have to wait.
I'm sorry, John. Are you talking to me?
Yes. We're trying
Okay.
to know. Give us an update if you would.
Jason and I are still working on it, and it's.
Did you try what Roy was suggesting? Did that not work?
I can't even. I'm trying to talk to Jason on this, and I'm looking on my phone to figure out how to do it. And I'm looking.
Hi,
for,
Roy. It's Jason Hour here. Hey guys, it's Jason Hour over here. I joined in from another computer.
Good.
Roy, what were you suggesting? I missed out on that part.
So you go to settings,
Yeah.
you go to settings, and then you go to click the meeting tab. And under in meeting, you have to
Yes, I already
verify.
have that. See, I already have that done. I already have that allowed. So the settings meeting tab and for allowing people back in after they've been removed. The
Yes,
problem
that
is
was
that it's not updating because the meeting is going on. You see that's the kink that we're having in the system right now is the fact that was not clicked on because of security issues. That wasn't clicked on beforehand. And now that the meeting's going on, it's underway, it's just kind of rolling as it is. It's not updating that. So we're trying to have, if we have the applicant sign on, maybe under a different account.
But they don't have an account.
They don't, yeah.
Is
Okay.
Nancy Lynn back with us?
I'm back. I'm
Okay,
back.
Nancy Lynn's back. That's one good move.
And you
Okay.
sound good now.
You sound good, Nancy Lynn.
Okay, yeah, Jason, we're having an issue here because we just have to let her be able to get back in. And she's, we had a problem with her and, not her fault. We screwed up a notice on a previous hearing. We really need to let this woman back in. She wants to participate by Zoom and has done everything right. So the only thing she did was she got let in too early.
And Matt brought me up to speed on that part. So
Okay.
I understand she doesn't have an account. What I'm trying to do is to see if she has another either device or something that it would recognize as a new user of her trying to sign in, and that way it doesn't block it.
And let me
I
do
don't think
this,
she's that.
Jason.
I don't think she's that.
Jason, let me do this. Let me send you her phone number so that you can help her because it's hard for us to
Yes,
get work done if
please.
I'm trying to call her.
Thank you, Nancy.
Okay, I'll give you her number and you can call her.
Wait,
Time out, folks. Time out. Time out. I think I got her
Oh,
on her iPhone.
okay, good.
Okay.
So stand by,
All right.
please, everybody.
All right.
No matter what, we're going to finish
Okay.
up on this.
Okay. She has video, so she should be in.
There you go, Rebecca. Okay,
Good.
Rebecca, we
Yes.
just need to finish up what business we were doing and we will just stay on. Don't do anything. We're going to finish up this decision and then we'll do your hearing, okay?
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay,
And
so we'll
also,
continue.
please turn off your TV in the background, Rebecca, because we're
Okay,
getting that
that's-
feedback loop right
Okay,
now.
I put on channel 22 because I didn't know what else to do at this point.
Yeah. So
Totally understood. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Rebecca.
It's turned
All
it
right,
off.
everybody have a great meeting. Everybody stay safe.
Thank
Take care.
you. Thank you, Jason. Thanks.
Okay, okay. Let's get back to this
All
where
right,
we
so
were.
we're
Tim?
back. We have an issue with the survey and
Do you want me to mute this? I'll mute it.
Yeah,
Well,
why
you
don't you
don't-
mute it?
Yeah, sure.
And we'll be
I'll
with
mute
you
it.
in just a minute, Rebecca.
Okay, you've been muted.
Okay. Go ahead, Nancy Lynn.
All right, so on Pettigrew, our issue is that we want to make sure the number on the clearing is updated because the
I give a shit.
August
meet the-
5th, 2020
to meet the-
doesn't have the new clearing numbers, correct?
To meet the 85 buffer line.
Right, okay.
So
So
can we
that
make that a
number-
condition of the approval, Nancy Lynn?
Yes, we can, that they need to update. I can do that as the approved survey with the caveat that it be updated to reflect an accurate clearing number.
Per
and
the
that's-
85, per the buffer, the 85-foot,
Yep.
okay, great. Okay, I think, has everyone else commented besides me on this? I recall, yes?
I've concluded my comments.
Have you, Tim? Okay, great, okay.
So
All
if I
right,
could, if I
One
could
second,
just.
Nan. I'm going to comment first, Nancy Lynn.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I just want to simply say that I agree with my fellow board members, and Roy walked us through this very well. And it is nice to know that this will be a year-round residence for somebody who's doing wonderful things with cancer patients, and he has a lot of support from the neighbors. There's a lot of support in the file, and I agree with my fellow board members and with regard to approving this. Okay, Nancy Lynn.
I just wanted to check because I was kind of distracted. I can get your comments for drafting this. I just wanted to double check that you're all in concurrence on this one.
We are.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I will go get the specifics before I draft that one. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Nancy Lynn. Okay, so now we will get back to our first public hearing. And I had read that in. And council, I was just asking you if we have a proper affidavit of service and posting for that.
And we have an affidavit of mailing on October 12th and posting on October 9th. The paperwork does appear to be in order.
Okay, thank you, Nancy Lynn. Okay, now this is in Board Member Brenneman's East Hampton District. It's at 11 Windward.
That's mine, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I said East Hampton. I got confused. I'm sorry. Roy, if you would, please, with your field report. Thanks.
Hang on a second. I think I need to share my screen.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So you guys are asking an awful lot of me today, Roy. I'm just
I know.
telling you. Let's see.
We'll
here.
get there.
I
We'll
got
make it
kicked
that way.
off.
I know.
Yeah,
You know how that feels. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Okay, there we go. Good job.
Okay.
That may not be your first one, and
It's
I don't
okay,
know if I
Nancy
have
Lynn.
them all.
Don't mess. I'll walk you through it.
Yep.
So
Okay.
this was not my first picture. Just so you know, I am standing.
Whoops.
Oh.
All right,
There.
that's not gonna help. Hang on a second.
Why'd you
touch
should have
anything.
touched anything?
Yeah,
I
don't
shouldn't have
touch
touched
it.
anything, I know.
Just hit the
Hang on.
forward.
Oh,
It
you
doesn't
got
matter what. It doesn't matter what picture you land on. I'll walk you through it.
I will get my screen up is what I need. I was trying to do photos, which is not helpful. I'm going to get my pictures here. Here we go.
Okay, Roy.
So
There we go. It's back.
all right, I am in this photo. I am standing in the backyard, looking at the deck that is encroaching the setback. If you see the way that to the left of this photo there's actually two. You'll see it clear in another photo. There's two fences, and I believe the property line is somewhere in between. There's a wire fence in the front and a more solid fence. So as we walk through these photos, please note that that solid fence travels all the way through. You do have some high screening. They talk about that in the TAM. But right in about the middle of the photo is where the encroachment is. Okay, I'm standing at the corner of the deck, looking along the property line. Again, you'll see that it's even though it's listed as a large variance, it's actually a very small section of this fence, so of this deck that is encroaching because of the way it's angled. Next photo. This is a photo just walking around the property into the backyard. Next photo. So this is a photo of the front of the house. I just want to make note that the posting was actually on the house, not at the street. Talked to the applicant about it, and she was afraid that the poster was going to get wet if it was out at the street, but it's clearly marked, so you can see it from the street, and I have another photo that you will see that from. So there now I'm standing on the street, and the posting is on the front door. Next photo. This is again, now you can see the wire fence and then the solid fence beyond it. And the solid fence is actually closer to the property line, running on or just barely on. You'll see that on the survey where there's two fences. And so you have a solid fence, and then you have these high, very tall arborvitaes behind it. That's it.
one again.
Okay.
About this one?
Yeah, again, I'm showing the screening.
Okay, thank you, Roy. Board members, any questions for Roy on his field report? No? Okay,
I do have a question.
yeah.
I'm wondering, Roy, when was that, what's the date of that patio was installed? Is that-
It's in the TAM. They believe it was like on 2000, I believe 2005, 2007, somewhere in there. The TAM lists that as when they believe that was built.
Okay, because it does say 2007 here, but I wasn't sure that it predated the purchase by the applicant.
Yeah.
Can I just
Wait,
comment
Hold on,
something?
hold on,
Not yet, not
Rebecca.
yet.
Rebecca, you have to hold on, please.
We believe the applicant bought the house after the deck extension.
Yeah, we can have the applicant, but Rebecca, unless you're an attorney, I have to swear you in before. Any other questions, board members? On the field report? No? Okay, Rebecca, are you an attorney, Rebecca?
I'm not.
Okay, will you raise your right hand and do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead. This is your time to speak, Rebecca.
Okay, I purchased the house in August. I closed on the house in August of 2007. The first time I went to see the house was in September of 2006. And the owner had vacated already because at that time he had purchased a house on Old Orchard. And the house was for sale for some time. So the only reason I'm piping in now is that this deck, this patio, had to have been done at around 2005 when he was still residing in the house.
Okay, great. Well, this is your time to pipe in. This is your time to kind of pitch your case,
Okay.
Rebecca.
What happened is, this is the first time I bought a house out here. I was working with a very experienced manager at one of the major real estate firms here that I knew. And at no time did he ever tell me that I should get a new survey done. The attorney I worked with was a New York attorney, and unfortunately, it wasn't an East Hampton attorney. And I should also say, not that it makes a difference, I am a real estate broker, but I am a real estate broker in Manhattan. So these are things that are totally, I'm unaware of and I have no knowledge of because this doesn't go on in New York. So if I would have gotten better advice, I would have gone ahead and I would have done another survey. But if someone doesn't tell me to do it, how would I know? So I got bad advice. And then when I went to put an extension on my house, some years later, this is what happened. Unbeknownst to me. It's a tiny little, it's a little spot in the corner. And the problem is that the property line, which is, I find interesting, is on an angle. So it gets wider and wider, and then at one point it gets very narrow.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Board members, and Rebecca, you can also comment at the end. We'll have to see if there's any questions, and then we'll hear from the planning department. Then you can always finalize your comments. Board members, any questions for the applicant?
Well, I think one of in cases like this, Mr. Chairman, and also Rebecca, is that in cases like this, we look to see what protects the variance if it to be approved from future neighbors as far as meeting the setback. And oftentimes we look at how the property line is screened to your neighboring properties. It is a neighborhood where houses are somewhat close to each other. Your hot lot is a substandard lot in size. So we're wondering if you've read the TAM, if you're willing to covenant maintenance of that screening and property line over a period of time, covenant with this property.
Are you asking me to respond?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was told to hold my, can you please explain exactly what that means and what it means in terms of dollars and cents?
Well, it's dollars and
Covenant-
cents over. Go
A
ahead.
covenant of restriction is a document, it's a legal document that you would file. We would assist you in preparing that. You would file it, and it would be a condition that will then run with the land. So it would be on your deed that you are agreeing to always, whether it's you or future buyers of the property, would have to agree to maintain the screening between your property and the property that is most affected by the patio that's requiring a variance.
In other words, are you saying what I have right now is something that needs to be protected and continued in the future? Is
That's
that what
correct.
you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
That's fine. I don't have any issue with that. My neighbors, they don't either. My neighbors are one of the only people that actually sent back the return receipt.
Okay, any other
Acknowledging.
questions for Rebecca, board members? Okay, if not, then we'll move on to the planning department. Next.
Evening, board members. Michael Olio for the planning department.
So
Thanks, Michael.
should
Go
I
ahead,
leave now or
Rebecca.
not?
No, you don't
Rebecca,
need, no, you
you're
stay
still
till the end of the meeting.
Stay? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So the planning department's going to present right now, and then we'll come back to you if you have another comment. So,
Okay.
Michael, good evening. I'll swear you in, Michael. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thanks.
Evening, board members. So this is, let me just share my screen. That'd be handy, wouldn't it? So here is the aerial of the property, and you can see the deck here. This is the 2018 aerial that's in the existing conditions memo. And that's the deck. The property's pre-existing clearing. It's completely cleared at the moment. We really don't have too much to say on this, and kind of leave these up to the board to find as to whether or not they meet the standards for the granting of the variance. You can see here in the survey, there's the two fences that Roy was referencing off of this corner of the deck. So this is the this is the most non-conforming section of the deck. Part of the kind of concern is, or not the concern, but the need for the variance is the way the house is oriented, set back from the street this far, the shape of the lot. There really isn't that much outdoor space in the back. So like I said, we really don't have a significant objection to the granting of the variance. Provided we haven't heard any, and I haven't seen any, at least, letters of objection from the neighbor. And if she's willing to do the covenant and restriction to maintain the screening along here, so we really don't have too much to say on this.
It actually looks like the screening is on the neighbor's property, pretty
But yeah,
much.
there's two sets of fences. One is one is that wire fence.
Yep.
That's on her property. And the other one is you see the row of arborvitaes and the fencing kind of along the property line there.
So you'd say, Michael, we do have some screening on her side of the property line?
Yeah, there's a little bit. I mean, the fences kind of rides the line a little bit. It's farther away in some places than others.
Right.
But there's not with the arborvitaes, the way they're growing, there's not much they could do in the way of
They're
planting.
fake. They're fake.
It's fake?
Plastic.
Not the arborvitae, the vine on the fence is plastic.
Yeah, the vine.
The
Yeah, that's
arborvitae,
just kind of
the tall arborvitaes are actually real arborvitae.
yeah, the arborvitae got a Hampton's haircut. The deer ate everything up to 4 feet, so that's why the fencing's underneath there.
Okay.
But it is currently screened.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Board members, any questions for Michael?
No.
I do have a question. I have a question about the arborvitae being on the adjoining lot and not on the national lot. Is that in fact the case, Michael?
It appears so, yes.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just kind of getting at. I thought, but that's what I was getting at before. But I thought you said some of the screening is on her property. That's what, maybe we should go back to a picture, but.
There's additional fencing on her property. If the board would like to, as part of the covenant restriction, have that switch from a wire fence to something like a stockade that would satisfy, like I said, there's not much in the way of vegetation that would probably grow underneath those arborvitaes.
Right. Or if those arborvitaes did die on the adjacent property, she could plant on her side.
That's
of the
correct.
property.
I would say.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that, Nancy Lynn. Maybe you can write it up something to that
I
effect.
think that you're right, Mr. Chairman. That's the way to handle it.
Yeah.
So it would be CNR not to maintain what's there, but if in the future, any of that screening were to
Correct.
be removed by the neighbor, that she would then be under an obligation to put some vegetative screening up between her property and the property behind. Does the applicant understand, are you, Ms. Master, are you aware, are you comfortable with that?
Well, what I think I'm hearing you say is that if for some reason the fence that's really on my property, as opposed to the fence that really becomes the dividing property line, if for some reason something happens to it, it would have to be replaced. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're
I'll
saying
I'm
explain.
not understanding you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll ex-
if your neighbors took down their screening, took down their fencing or their vegetation, that you would then be under an obligation to put some up on your side of the property.
Because right now those tall, Rebecca, let me say something. Right now, those tall arborvitaes are not on your property.
They're
So,
not.
right, that's the point. So if they were to die, this covenant would compel you to replant arborvitaes on your property to maintain that screening. Okay, I don't expect them to die, but that's what we're talking about.
That's a very expensive proposition. That's not one that I can afford. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's very expensive, and I'm not going to spend to replace all of those things, God forbid, and I had to
No,
put
not all of
arborvitaes
them.
on
No, it
there.
wouldn't be all of them. It would be the ones that died that are in the affected area of your variance. Once you're,
I don't think they're arborvitaes.
well, we need some sort of a screening, but here's the point. The arborvitaes that are there are not on your property, and we want screening. We're considering if this board approves the variance or not. We haven't made our decision to give you approval
I
yet,
understand.
just so you know. And if we
Okay.
do, we want to maintain some sort of screening. So if I don't
need to-
expect them to die, they look very healthy. If they were to die, we would want you to plant some sort of screening in the affected areas where the variance is, not the whole length of the property line, only where your porch does not meet the setbacks. And it could be, and so and plus they don't look like they're going to die, but that's what and that's your decision. If you don't want to do that, then you can, we'll see what happens.
I don't know if I'm willing to take that financial responsibility. If something, an accident can happen, anything. I don't know if that's a lot of money for me, and I can't afford to do that. I mean, anything can happen in this world. You know, we're all saying, well, probably they'll be fine and they'll survive. But if a freak accident happens, then that's a huge financial responsibility.
Well, if you understand, if you get denied, you'd have to remove the portion of the deck. You do understand that?
I understand that. It's a,
Okay.
you know, the reality is that it's a very small portion.
Okay,
It's minute.
okay.
I
If I,
understand. I
if I
understand that.
may, maybe
Go ahead,
instead
Brian.
of
Michael.
vegetative screening, you just leave the condition as screening, which would kind of lend itself to potentially a stockade fence, something that might be more affordable. You know, they would just have, or who, you know, Ms. Nasser or whoever the property owner is at the time that that happens, would have to come to the board for approval. I think that's been done in the past, in situations like this.
Right.
So maybe it could just be left as screening, not necessarily vegetative. It would just have to be some form of screening.
Can I ask a question? Is a stockade fence a wooden fence?
Yes.
I don't think I think that my neighbors, you know, they've been there for a long time and I've been here for quite some time. I mean, putting up wire fencing is fine. I think a stockade fence makes for unfriendly neighbors. I really,
It
you
would
know,
just
I
be
think,
something
It would only.
in
Go
the
ahead,
in the
Michael.
event that the existing wire fence with the fake vines
fake
and such
plastic-
on it
that's
were
on their
no
side.
longer there. So as long as that's maintained, I believe the board would be fine.
yeah.
That's kinda
Can I
what we're
just say
angling at.
one thing? You know, the sellers, those are my neighbors. They just put, they put those fake plastic leaves on just 2 years ago. I have to be honest with you. It's a relatively new thing. They wrapped it around. I think they were
But-
hoping to get more
but I don't wanna-
privacy while I'm sitting on the deck.
Okay, we have to keep moving
Let's
here.
not digress.
Yeah.
Let's not
Point
digress.
there.
It's not about the fake leaves. It's about proper screening. So,
Right. Okay, so we have to move along here. So we will take all this into consideration
Okay,
and then we'll take it from there. Okay?
okay, very good.
We've spent plenty of time here. Okay, thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night. You don't have to get off there. We're going to close the meeting and then.
No. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay,
Okay.
great. Okay,
I should leave.
Tim.
You
Well,
can.
we're just
Yeah,
closing the meeting. Tim, if you would want to close us out.
it's me.
Oh, it's Roy. I keep getting confused. Sorry, Roy, about that. I apologize.
So therefore, I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to close the public hearing, but leave the record open until 2 weeks after the transcripts are posted on the town website for Rebecca Nasser at 300-103-5-43.
That's
Second.
it.
I'll concur.
I'll concur.
And I concur as well. Thanks. Thank you, Roy, and Michael, and thank you, Rebecca Nasser. Okay.
Thank
We
you.
will-
Good
We
night.
will move along now to our second public hearing. I will read this in. It is Selman Rosen Family Trust LLC is the applicant. Pardon me. The lot size and location is 35,604 square feet at 49 Sandpiper Lane in Amagansett, tax map number 300-177-1-32. Description is to install a 480 square foot swimming pool with pool equipment, fencing, 64 square foot spa, and 682 square feet of decking on a parcel of land containing beach vegetation. The relief sought here is a natural resources special permit pursuant to section 255-4-20 of the East Hampton Town Code. This is in an A residence zoning district, and a flood zone here is AE flood zone elevation 10. And the secret class is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
Yeah, I'm just looking for our agent. Is Britton Bistrian?
Oh, geez, thank you.
Matt?
Matt from
Yes,
LTV.
Britain is in the waiting room. Yes.
Will
Okay,
her-
let
her
Britton in, please. There she is. Okay. Yes, I have an affidavit of mailing on October 30th and posting on October 30th. So the paperwork appears to be in order.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nancy Lynn. Okay, this is in my Amagansett district, and Michael is going to help me out with sharing his screen with the photos. Thank you, Michael. Okay, so this is the first photo here. And you all know from the survey, this is down at a cul-de-sac here. And I've stepped back. It was properly posted. There were some working trucks in the driveway there, you see, but I took a step back to show you there's an incredibly beautiful dune land on the left side of the photo. You see this looks like it's been very well maintained and not disturbed, and it's really quite nice. I don't know how wonderful all the plantings are because I'm not an expert, but overall it looks like really nice land there. So then I started walking in the driveway next, and you see, I'm sorry, go ahead, Michael, the next photo, please. Okay, now here I'm out still. I stayed there and I swung to the left and just looking up Sandpiper towards Montauk Highway or towards Bluff Road, pardon me, just to give you the character of the neighborhood there. All these houses are fairly nice screening around between the street and the houses. I think I spun around 180 degrees. Next, please. There, I just want to give you another shot of that. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have spun around. This is a neighboring house looking towards the ocean and east, looking east and southeast, I guess, or probably directly, mostly east. Excuse me. Just to give you a sense of the neighborhood there. Next, please. Here again, I just kind of zoomed in on that nice portion of the property there, and you see the posting. Next, please, Michael. Again, I'm kind of walking in the driveway, giving you a little sense of that. The house design, I must say, works kind of nicely with that topography. Next, here I'm turning to the right in the driveway with the work trucks there. And that's basically straight ahead behind that pickup truck is, as you know, board members, is where the pool will be situated. Next, please. So I really focused on that area. Here I've just come closer to it. And according to the TAM and the planning department and Michael's conversation with, and Michael's Delalio's analysis, a lot of this portion where the plan is proposed is certainly not the best portions of the property with regard to dune land vegetation. Next, please, Michael. You can see some of it is, that's kind of the area I've stepped just to give you a sense of that. That's kind of the corner of the house there where the pool will be. Next, please, Michael. I think I walked around. Here I came around. This is looking, I've come around that side of the house. So again, I'm looking kind of east and a little north. That's a neighbor to the back on the backyard side there. And just to give you a sense of the property, and I came around the back corner of the house and you can see it's very nicely maintained. I mean, they're not disturbing that it comes right up to the house there, which is certainly nice to see. Next, Michael. And now I came back and I actually walked kind of into the south of that, or southeast of the house, and kind of shot back as if I was to give you a sense of that area where the pool is proposed. Next, Michael, that might be the last one.
Yeah, that's the last photo, John.
Yeah. Any questions, board members? No?
That last shot that was there, that was the garage there?
No, that's the corner of the house. No, it's not. I don't believe it's a garage. I don't recall seeing a garage.
That's not the front?
Oh, that is right there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, Ed, did you have a question or somebody had a question?
I have a comment because I did visit the site.
Yeah.
If you want to wait till the planner, I don't mind doing it, but.
Sure, why don't we let them present and you can jump in and that sounds good, Ed. Thank you. Okay, so we will go to Britton. Britton, good evening. Britton Biskey.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'll swear you in, Britton, for the evening. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. Go ahead, please, Britton.
Good evening, Chairman Whelan, members of the board. Britton Bistrian, 21 Nappy Harbor Road, Amagansett, representing the Salmon Rosen Amagansett Trust, owners of the parcel you just described at 49 Sandpiper Lane in Amagansett. We're here this evening requesting a natural resources special permit for a swimming pool, a spa, and decking on a parcel of land containing beach vegetation. This parcel has been in family ownership for 53 years, since 1967. The residence itself was constructed prior to NRSP regulations, but in addition, and hot tub was permitted through an NRSP in 1987. So this board hasn't seen this property in 33 years. The current desire is to improve it with a pool, typical residential accessory structure on Sandpiper Lane, where most of the lots in the Sea Bluff subdivision are just shy of an acre. These are significantly larger than the next couple of streets over, Clinton Academy and so on and so forth. Initially, the project was for a 480 square foot pool, a 64 square foot spa, and 682 square feet of decking. In response to Michael's very well-written technical analysis, we did some reductions to the plan, which compacted the pool sort of more closer to the house, slid the decking and the pool closer to the house. We reduced the clearing significantly. As you noted, the property is very under-cleared.
Britain, just to be clear, that would be the October 6th survey, the latest.
Correct.
Is it?
Sorry?
No, I'm sorry. How much closer did you move it to the house? I didn't think the October 6th reflected that.
It did. It shifted 4 feet, which was a reduction of 106 square feet of decking. We also relocated the dry well. It used to be in an area that required a little bit more clearing. We put it in the front because that's where we're going to need the most construction clearing to actually construct the pool. And we reduced the clearing setback to between 5 and 10 feet, depending where it is. If you see it varies around the pool, and we really spoke with the pool contractor and feel pretty confident that that's achievable. The other thing I wanted to know, which came up in Michael's TAM, was the pool fencing. And I just wanted to have on the record that the pool fencing, because the pool is slightly above ground, the pool structure itself will be integral with the fencing. There's not going to be a separate fence that causes any more clearing or is outside of the footprint of the decking of the pool that you see on this survey. In terms of, if I'm on project conditions, in terms of the project conditions, I do want to note 2 things that I think should be removed. Letter E it just looks like it's an incomplete statement holdover from another maybe mitigation, where it just says copies of the same with proof of recordation. But it didn't have anything ahead of it. But later on, it does note covenants and restrictions, and it says, the recording statement. So I think E should be removed. And then the other one is K, requiring a DEC permit. This parcel is not within the jurisdiction of freshwater or tidal wetlands or coastal erosion. So I don't believe that that's required. In summation, I think the application in front of you is reasonable, given the size of the property, the stewardship this family with a long-time ownership has shown. I do think we were responsive to the planning department comments and reduced the scope to the bare minimum to meet the applicant's needs. And I feel that it warrants a special permit issuance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Britton. Ed, you want to go ahead first?
No, I'll let the planner go and let's see what's.
Okay. Thanks again, Britton. Michael?
Evening, board members. Mike Delalio for the planning department again. So here is the lot in the aerials currently. And the area where the pool is proposed is on this, in this little section of the house right here. I was pleased with the new revisions in the October 6th, 2020 survey, where they moved it a little bit closer and they cut down the amount of clearing that was going to be needed along, most notably along this, the driveway side of the project. These areas of town are, they're pretty special. You've got this large dune the chairman pointed out on the northern section of the property, all the way around the back of the property. And again, it kind of opens up in the front here. And in terms of vegetation on the lot, the most pristine stuff is along this dune. There's definitely some more along this southern section. But a lot of the stuff in and around where, this pool is proposed, there are some Russian olives. There looks like, some sort of grass, some weedy stuff in there. So it's not exactly the most pristine in terms of what's available on the lot. So being able to cut back the amount of clearing needed, the amount of disturbance overall to what the board's currently seen, I think is definitely a step forward compared to the original. I'll pull up the originally proposed. Had it open a moment ago. This is May of 2020. It looks pretty similar. You can see the difference in terms of the decking is over here compared to the two, and the proposed clearing envelope are the two largest changes, and being able to cut back the clearing along the back. Yeah, in taking a look at the assessment with those two edits that Britton suggested, I don't necessarily have an objection to the removal of the DEC statement. It's that's in the assessment, and it looks like really it's just kind of a reordering of the conditions. Normally, that condition of the copies of recordation follows the CNR recommendation that is in there. So just is something that could be reordered. And I don't know, maybe she had gotten a copy that got cut off at the bottom, because I have condition E as being complete.
What do you have it as? Oh,
Yeah, the copy is the same. Proof of recordation shown thereon shall be returned to the town clerk prior to the issuance of a building permit. But
okay, I'm sorry. Where's the statement about the CNR, or is the?
It's actually underneath it, so it looks like it got kind of reordered. But it's something that.
Oh, okay. So it's in J.
It's in there. It just got kind of jumbled a little bit.
Right.
But with aside from that, I don't really have too many comments on this application. I think even though a 4-foot difference in the deck and the clearing appears minor, I think it made an improvement upon the originally proposed.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a pretty large pool.
Yeah, the size of the pool didn't change.
Yeah, and when I was there, I saw what looked like some bay in that area where it's planned to be. The pool is proposed. Not just invasives.
And to the construction types on the board, is that proposed clearing line along the back realistic?
I would say it is, right, Roy? Yeah.
Yeah. To that regard, Tim, also, and I think to Michael and Britton have ultimately in this discussion, I agree that this area is some of the most pristine dune land, and we really have to take every effort to protect it. So therefore, I think we have to pay a little bit close attention to where the limiting fence is going to be, what type of limiting fence is that going to be, so we don't have vehicles going beyond it. And I'm wondering if both sides of the driveway, Michael, you can chime in, should be a more substantial type fencing, not just eco barrier fence or likewise, but maybe more of a snow fencing.
Probably a snow fencing or the orange project limiting fencing.
Yeah,
would be the best. That way you don't have to worry about someone stepping over it.
I think we really have to take special care here to make sure that the encroachments, are not unintended into areas that we don't want them.
Yeah, I agree, Roy, completely. It really would be nice to fence both sides of that driveway, because you can see, as Roy knows, construction people, just pulling off a couple of feet, and they do it day after day, and there goes that vegetation. And I must say, it looks a little unrealistic, and Britton can comment on this, but when you look at the corner where it says garage under deck, 7.5 feet, you see that green 141.6 line. Yeah, thank you, Michael. It looks a little unrealistic with the proposed clearing, that all of that equipment, if this is approved, and all the gunite and all the excavation is going to go through that little slot. I really think realistically, the clearing is going to have to turn left there and follow the line of the parking, where the front of the car would be. Unfortunately, I don't know what's there, and I guess I'd be concerned with revegetation. I don't want to make it any bigger, but that just doesn't look realistic to me. It looks like about 10 feet where you're going to get trucks and, but Britton can comment on that and can give her a chance to comment on that. But
You're talking about the parking area of the driveway? Like,
I'm talking about, go back to the survey. Yeah. Well, first of all, you can see, you see there's a nice tree. I don't know if they were going to try to maintain. Oh, I see. That's why they're not doing that. It would be nice if they were going to maintain that tree. I don't know. Ed knows more about trees than I do, certainly, and you all do, but I'm not sure if that's a good spot. But my point is, I don't know how they're going to get in between. If you go back to the survey, it just doesn't look realistic between the corner of that garage and the proposed limit of clearing, which I assume would be fenced. Brian, Michael, if you could put your cursor where I'm talking about, please. Yeah, between that 7.5 and the one up by the garage going up on the page. Yeah, that just doesn't look realistic to me as far as an opening for all of that construction.
so Michael, pull the cursor back. So you're thinking back where the parking lot is going like a right angle to the
Exactly.
where they're doing.
Yeah,
Right
go
there,
right
Michael. Right there, Michael. Maybe
turning
that. No, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I hate to see it, but it just doesn't look realistic. And I guess I was asking Michael earlier about a revegetation. Again, Britton can comment on this. They really, I must say, as I said earlier, they seem to be very good stewards of the property. So why don't we I'll just stop and let Britton comment on those issues. But Ed, you had some.
Well, I just want to, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just want to reflect what both you and Vice Chair said. And visiting the site, it is very well maintained, and it looks as if the things that we always hope for, that the building looks as if it's dropped in the middle of an ecosystem, is working.
Yeah.
However, the pool does extend past the existing house 28 feet, and it goes into a vegetated area. It can be revegetated. I do think what starts to happen, though, is the ability to build this pool, as you pointed out. It's going to be very tough not to see this get over cleared. I think it's very optimistic that you can come along this cleared area and get this pool built. Now, anything is possible, but I think the limitations on how much disturbance we're willing to allow has to be quite specific with this one. When you're there, I do think there's the potential to see a fair amount of damage in that area. And there's some good sized vegetation there. There's some very large and healthy pines. And I don't see saving any of the ones that are in the direct area, directly adjacent to it. There's also an issue for me with one of the photos you had with the nearest neighbor who is not on Sandpiper, but is on the adjacent road there. He's actually the one closest.
Yeah.
So when this pool is established in there, he's the one most likely to be affected by the pool being completed, not the ones on Sandpiper. The houses on Sandpiper are much better protected.
Sure.
So when you visit the site and you stand there and you see how nicely maintained it's been, and then you look at the size of the pool, 40 foot long, extended 28 feet past the edge of the building, it does give me pause. And I looked and greatly appreciated the site, but was quite worried that a project this size is going to do a lot more damage than what they're suggesting will happen. And I would hope we can do something along the lines of what you've already suggested, fence down the driveway, and as Vice Chair has said, some way in which we put the kind of fencing up and the limitations that can be strictly adhered to, which I think many of us know sometimes is not done. It's easy enough to cut corners here and to over clear this. So I do have concerns in that area.
Ed, thanks. I just want to piggyback on your comments there. Thanks for that, Ed. Just to follow what you're saying, I believe it's not 28 feet, it's 24 feet, but nonetheless, it is certainly a large disturbance, and I appreciate everything you said. And I would say, I would like to see for all of the fencing up the driveway, and I imagine the applicants will not have, if this is approved, they're not going to have a problem with this, but I would like to see it all be like snow fencing with the metal stakes, and going around and maintaining. And Ed, to your point about that being enough, we make that enough. We say where it says proposed clearing, that's where the limits, the project limiting fence goes, so that they have to construct that pool within that parameters. They can these days, they can dig fairly straight. In sand, it's like a 45-degree slope, but a lot of these pool guys are used to getting in there quickly, as Roy knows, and they can go down pretty sharp sharply and get their forms in right away before there's a lot of, backfill and slopage, going on. But I would say if this is approved, that we really make that a firm fence, and that is the limit. And as well, to Ed's points about the vegetation, I'd like to hear what Britain perhaps has to offer with some of those trees being what's the word I'm looking for, where you're either saving them so that they can be put back in around some of the nicer ones you're taking out, or you are perhaps adding not just American beach grass, but you're adding some other vegetation. Because I do agree with Ed's other point about the neighbor. You can clearly see from that photo that they are the ones that are going to be affected, and it would be nice to see a little bit of a screening between the northeast side of the pool where it says 24 feet and that neighbor and the other east side. So so thanks for those comments, Ed. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Just
Roy.
a clarification on the screening, as long as it's it's native, right?
Exactly, without a doubt. Thank you. Any other comments before we go back to Britton and Michael? Board members, Tim, anything? Terry?
No, let's hear from Britton again.
Okay, Britton?
Two things I want to note. First of all, I had forgotten to note that there was a letter of support in the file from the adjacent neighbor. And I had also spoken to another neighbor who didn't submit a letter, but was also in support on the rear of the parcel to the north east, which would be Clinton Academy.
The one we're referring to, yeah.
The one letter should definitely be in your file. I believe I saw it posted. In terms of the clearing, I'm very sensitive to all the board's comments, but I do think we need to take a little bit of an overview here. The property's 35,000 square feet. I'm using round numbers. And the clearing allowed on a property of that size is 17,777. And the proposed is just 6,800. So this is a really significantly vegetated parcel now and even after this construction. To that end, we did, and as I noted, we do have a pool contractor who's engaged. He did work with us to prepare those clearing lines using small machinery. I do see that the stone driveway, if you wanted to sort of take that, I guess it would be the southern line and extend that to the green. Most of the area, if you look at the picture you've shown, the tree is going to have a root system that's going to be a problem. We're going to have to get rid of that tree, but it's mostly grassy, lawn type area that we'd be happy to put together a re-veg plan to put in some natives after the construction, if you want to make that a condition of the approval.
Yeah, maybe Britton, since we all know we have to wait for this to go on the, to the transcripts to be prepared to go on the town website, perhaps that would give you plenty of time before if we left the written, the written record would be open to get that a re-veg plan in on that, if you would.
I really would like to make it, I mean, we're not talking a huge amount of real estate there. If we make it a condition, we would have time to think about it and look at the site, and I don't know if 2 weeks is reasonable to pull together, even if it's 4 weeks. I prefer to do it as a condition of approval, which has kind of been standard for the board. But if the board insists on it, I guess I'll acquiesce. The other thing I would literally like to note, and this is a little bit more procedural, just because I handle a lot of these applications, and it's a little bit of a request. When you get very specific about the fencing, it would be very helpful to the applicants, because who knows if I'm the applicant that ends up filing for a building permit, if you could make that fencing, project limiting fence part of your determination that used to be attached on the back on the survey, and then it rides with the decision for perpetuity. So if somebody builds this in 5 years, they still have the validity of the discussion that may not make a diagram if it's just a condition of approval. So I think that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, well, to your point, I think that's a very good point, because I would like to see, even if it's the planner, if it's Michael, taking a survey and literally taking a red pen and going up both sides of the driveway around the parking. If you could go back to the survey for a second, Michael, and make the jog the way, maybe you can use your cursor, Michael. So in other words, I would ask that Michael would follow the driveway with a red pen, and you don't have to do it right now. I mean, in the file. There, exactly, and follow, and go exactly right, and do the driveway as well, so that to Britton's point, if this doesn't get built, for some reason there's extensions, this is in the record. And you would take that as you're doing, right, and go all the way around. And this is where, go ahead, Michael. That's, you don't have to do it right now, but that's great. That's the idea. And it would go down the driveway. So Britton, so they're clearly saying that if this is our decision, if we do approve this, that we are requiring, I'd like to see a snow fence with metal stakes myself.
And I think it should go down both sides of the driveway.
Yeah, great. Just what he's drawing. Yeah, there you go. Well, you've almost done your homework, Michael. You're almost there. And then as well, board members, maybe you can comment if you would like to see, this isn't just your normal, but as far as the re-veg, I'll defer to my fellow board members if they want to make that a condition or not, or see it in the next 4 weeks. Board members, how do you all feel on that?
I think it could be a condition.
I agree, to be conditioned.
Okay. But anyway, okay, great. Let's see, board members, any questions for Britton or, and if not, Michael, if you have any final comments?
No other comments.
Okay, you all good, board members?
Yeah.
Okay, so having said that, I will make a motion with regard to the Selman Rosen Family Trust LLC at 49 Sandpiper Lane in Amagansett to close the public hearing. And
Chair, can we just double check that we have no callers?
Oh, good point. Thank you, Nancy Lynn. Matt from LTV, anyone on the line?
There are 0 callers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Nancy Lynn, for the reminder. I can't forget the public. That we close out the public portion of the hearing and leave the written record open until 2 weeks after the transcript is posted on the town's website.
Second.
I concur.
I'll concur.
Concur.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you, Britton and Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work on this, Michael.
You're welcome, Chair.
Okay, we will move on now to our final public hearing for the evening. The applicant is Jonathan Ende, ENDE, and the lot size and location is 15,501 square feet at 11 Industrial Road, Montauk, tax map number 300-27-3-13. To demolish the description here is to demolish an existing residence and construct a 1,122 square foot 2-story residence with 484 square feet of decking, sanitary system and driveway on a parcel of land containing freshwater, wetlands, and surface waters. The relief sought, a natural resources special permit pursuant to section 255-4-20 and variances from section 255-4-40 minimum wetland setbacks and section 255-3-75 harbor protection overlay district regulations of the town code and any other relief necessary. The following variances are required. 1 and 2 variances of 72 feet and 71 feet are required to construct the residence and decking 28 feet and 29 feet respectively from wetlands where a 100-foot setback is required. 3, a 153-foot variance is required to install the sanitary system 47 feet from wetlands where a 200-foot setback is required. This is in a zoning district of A residence. The flood zone here is AE flood zone elevation 8 feet. The secret class is type 2. And council, do we have a proper affidavit of service and posting?
Sorry, yes, hang on a second.
That's right.
Yes, we need to let the agent in. I'm working with Matt on it.
Yeah.
We have chat and we're trying to do chat, but yes, we need to, that's the same Brian we need.
Thank you for reminding us about that. Right, we always want to let them in.
They need to be part of the meeting.
Right, and
Okay.
Matt, in general, Matt, LTV, you can do that automatically. They're waiting, once I start reading it in, Matt, in the future, you can just let them in, okay?
Okay,
If you
I'm just
know
waiting. I'm just waiting for direction. That's all.
Yeah, thank you,
Yep.
Matt.
So let him in.
And I believe Katie is on the line also,
Good.
or at
you
least
can-
trying
yeah,
to be.
Okay, good. All right,
If you
great.
could let them both in, thank you. Once we know
There's
that,
Brian, okay.
we'll continue. Are they in now? Are they
Brian,
listening?
Okay.
Are
So
they
yes, I have an affidavit of a mailing on the 29th day of October and posting on the 29th day of October.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nancy Lynn. This is in our 2 board members, Terry and Ed, you
Yeah.
wanna talk
Yeah,
district?
I did the photos on this one, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. So,
Go ahead, Terry, thanks.
okay. So this is the official notice of posting. It was properly taped to the tree. Next. Now I turned from that posting, and this is in the other direction. In the TAM, it references Little Fort Pond. You can see the little pond back there behind that shrubbery. And that's Edgebeer Street, where it turns into Flamingo. I'm not sure exactly what it's called right in that location. That's part of the wetlands. And this is a shot looking west on Industrial Road, heavily trafficked area, as you can see. And then there is a house to the west of the driveway here where the boat is. You'll see more photos of that later. And now I'm walking up into the major part of the property. A lot of this looks like it's in wide angle, because I was playing with my camera again. To the right of that boat is the area on the survey which goes down, leads down to the dock. And this is the southwesterly side of the house, and Fort Pond in the background. That's a closer shot of the dock area to the west. It was a very sunny afternoon, so I was getting a lot of glare. So I tried to take shots from the other direction. But anyway, next. That's kind of more of the same. Okay, next. Now this is the side of the house and the front in the area. Looking toward the distance is where the existing septic is and where the new septic is proposed. And this is I guess this would be the kind of westerly side of the house. And then I'm going to go across the back where you see the propane tanks. And this is the back on the southern side of the current house. And you see more of Fort Pond there in the distance behind that shrubbery and lane, and out of the picture to the right is where the Surf Lodge is located. Next. And this is some of the shrubbery, and again, that was to get a somewhat of a better picture of Surf Lodge. You could see it in the background in the distance, and some of the shrubbery that exists. There is nice shrubbery, and there are also some invasives in other portions. And next. Next. Okay, now this is the easterly side of the house as it exists today. And looking from south toward the northern direction. You see some oak trees there in the background. Next. And now this is from the opposite of that. I'm standing more in the northerly portion of the eastern side of the house. And that's the existing front where the boats are, and the easterly side of the existing house. Next. And now I'm in the front, walked farther toward the north property line and just shooting back to the front of the house as it exists today. Next. And now I'm standing in this, you can see the current, the existing sanitary system cover there. And the proposed IA system is going to be in that general vicinity, going out toward that treed area in the distance. Next. And this is, the car in the driveway. This is where the driveway is proposed to be the quartz impervious driveway. And you can see the house to the west down on Industrial Road. And there's another neighbor across the street in the distance. You can kind of see the house there too. And next. And it's just another shot of that area. You do see some nice mature tree growth in that distance there, and some other native species. And I'm not sure if that's it. Next. And that's a shot now. This is kind of over on the dock side again, looking out over Fort Pond, and you see some pine there. And next, actually, I did go down onto the dock, so I think there's some there. Next.
That's it.
That's it? Oh, okay. There's a shot I did have of the standing on the dock itself. It's in It's not in great shape, but it's not terrible either. And I don't know what they're proposing to do about the dock, if anything. And there was also a shot of the neighbor's house, which is based pretty much right on Fort Pond, which you can see well from the dock area. It's a bulkheaded property. But, I thought I sent those photos also, but apparently not. Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry. That was great. Board members, any questions? No? Okay, we will go ahead to the applicant. Do we have Katie on the line, Matt?
Yes, we do. I need to let her in.
Okay.
I'm actually helping present this application as well.
Yeah, Katie could have been let in again a long time ago, Matt, whenever anyway, just.
Caller, can you hear me?
Yeah, she couldn't hear you? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, who do we have here? Is this?
It's
Kate.
Brian Locascio with the Adam Miller Group.
Oh, okay, Brian, good evening. You're an attorney, Brian, I believe, correct?
I am an attorney, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead, Brian. Well, is Katie in? We should make sure she's on part of this. So is she in?
Yeah.
Matt?
You missed
Katie.
the whole first part,
Can you guys
second?
hear me?
Yes.
Katie, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, we can. Okay, I just want to make sure you were part of it. Okay. Go ahead, Brian, please.
All right. Good evening again. Brian Locascio with the Adam Miller Group, 2462 Main Street, Suite 7, Bridgehampton. Attorney for the applicant, Jonathan Endy. As discussed, the property is located 11 Industrial Road in Montauk. The property is 15,501 square feet, and the upland area excluding the wetlands is 13,989 square feet. The property abuts Fort Pond. There's an improved house to the west and an improved plot to the north. There are no improved residences to the east. The nearest neighbor is a surf lodge, which is along Industrial Road, kind of across the waterway. We have letters in support from both the neighbors to the north and to the west. As you can see on this map, the applicant, through working with the planning department it kind of has a long history of this application, but it's the first time it's before you. The applicant did everything they can to put a modest house that is essentially the same size as the existing house, maintaining the same footprint. It's actually retreating about 5 feet away from the wetlands by removing the existing deck that is located 23 feet, putting the decking on the other side of the house. We are creating a 5.3 foot reduction in overall lot coverage. Property currently has a 15.6 foot lot coverage, reducing it to 10.3%. As noted, we're implementing an IA sanitary system, and we'll be removing the conventional sanitary system. The sanitary system is proposed in an area that is already disturbed and cleared of native vegetation so as to not disturb any of the existing vegetation. The applicant is also offering and proposing an additional 1,280 square feet of vegetation, as well as a 10-foot buffer, covenanted buffer along the wetlands line. So as a way to, firm up and protect the pond. This application has already been approved by the DEC. We are pending before the health department. As noted in the planning board's memo, they were generally pleased with the application. We took all their considerations. We did everything we can to mitigate or create any further disturbance of the property. It's not substantial relief requested because, again, we're maintaining the original footprint. We are bringing in the environmental beneficial impacts of the IA system, removing the conventional system. We're bringing in further vegetation. We're covenanting the wetlands buffer to shore up the area which slopes to the pond to further protect the pond. This lot, due to its heavy burdening of wetlands and the pond across the street, there's no conforming building envelope on this property. The existing house does benefit from a certificate of occupancy as well as the dock. Again, in a way to create the least amount impact to this property, we've maintained the existing footprint of the property. As noted, we have letters in support from the neighbors. This is a modest size house. It's about a little over 1,100 square feet. single-family dwelling. It's in like and kind with the current use and the existing surrounding uses, so there'll be no detrimental impact to the neighborhood. There's no change. The existing property does not benefit from any legal parking. We have proposed a pervious driveway with adequate compliant parking. So overall, we're taking our best effort to reduce the nonconformities of this property while doing the best to create the best environmental impact of this property, or reduce the environmental impacts the property would have on the neighborhood as a whole and Fort Pond.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Yep, of course.
Board members, any questions for Brian?
Yeah, Brian, could you review the reductions in the non-conforming?
Yeah, so if you look at the survey, the existing house and the deck is 23. If you go on the, I guess it would be the southeast corner of the house. But yeah, right there, exactly 23 feet. And we're now proposing 28 feet from the wetlands line. You can also see it up the southeast corner. The house is where it was 23, it's now 30. Again, the decking is put to the rear of the streetward side of the house. We've proposed dry wells to help offset any water runoff towards the pond. Again, we're implementing a buffer, adding vegetation so as to firm up the shoreline and to help prevent any stormwater runoff into the pond.
I have a question.
Yep.
Yeah, on the survey, the blue hatched area is the vegetative buffer. The green area is the re-veg.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Why not establish the entire re-veg up to the limit of the green as your vegetative buffer? I mean, the greater buffer we have, the more benefit to the pond. So my question, if you're going to vegetate anyway, why don't we call that a buffer?
Right,
I
you
can
can
discuss
that with the owner. I don't think he'd object to that. We were just holding a 10-foot offset line from the wetlands.
Right.
Yeah.
Normally, we would like to see, and I know this is a slope. This is sloping down pretty drastically there to the water. So I think that there would be a better benefit to have a greater buffer.
Yeah, I agree, Roy. If I could jump in for a second, and Katie and Brian, as you know, I believe from discussing with the planning department, a lot of that area is already vegetated, obviously. So certainly much of that, I'm sure, is native species that you would just be keeping. So I think if you were amenable to this, which I think is a great idea, you could work with the planning department, and it might just be really just filling in here or there, because I understand a lot of even the 10-foot buffer is already vegetated.
That's correct.
You know.
Yeah, I think actually all of the 10-foot is vegetated as of right now.
Yep. Yeah, with the exception of the pathway to the dock.
Right. I think that would certainly help your application, without a doubt.
Now, you're going to reduce the pathway to the dock, or you're going to leave the dock as it is today?
Yeah, they were not proposing any change to the dock. And it was listed on the CO that was issued last year.
Okay, but you were gonna not widen, you were going to narrow the pathway to it somewhat.
Correct. There's an 8-foot proposed pathway. Correct. And if you see the limits of clearing now, you can see there's a blue dashed line that kind of goes through. It follows the deck towards the house. So we are proposing to narrow that gap to 8 feet, whereas the kind of easterly side expands. So there will be some filling in there, or reducing of that pathway.
Good, even better. Board members, any other questions?
It's proposed, this is Ed, thanks, Mr. Chairman. It's proposed in the description from the Arthur Miller Group that the house will be a modular house. Is that confirmed that you'll be putting a modular in the spot?
That is correct.
Correct. Chairman, the only other thing that Brian Lacazio didn't touch upon is the existing house is 3 bedrooms, and where there's going to be no change to the bedroom count. So the density will be the same.
Great. Thank you for adding that. Yeah, I took a look at the plans and all. Thank you, Katie. And you guys will have a chance for a final comment. Why don't we hear from Brian in the planning department, Brian Frank. Next, Brian, if you would, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Good evening. Oh, Brian, I'll swear you in. I'm sorry. Just before, as I usually forget. Brian, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent.
If it's all right with you, I'd like to switch from the survey, which you know, I'm happy to come back to, but I'd like to show you an aerial photograph of the property. And this was an application, and I think this was summarized in the report from the Adam Miller Group. This application was initially submitted in, I think, 2015. It somewhat, it was dormant for a while. The owner, boy, where's that photo? Maybe it's just taking a moment to load.
Yeah.
But the owner came in to find out what the concerns of the planning department were and what the issues were with the redevelopment of the property. And you know, those concerns are summarized in the planning department's report, but just to run through them in an overview now, the constraints of the lot are pretty severe. The upland lot area of the property is less than a half acre. The shape of the property with the southern pond frontage, where many of the properties on Fort Pond have somewhat a rectangular shape with the pond front on one side. This is almost a semicircle of a wetland boundary. On top of that, Little Fort Pond, as Member Berger noted, is to the north with associated wetlands. And the northernmost portion of the property line is densely vegetated and very, very steeply sloped. And all of those constraints led the planning department to advise the applicant to limit any redevelopment of the property to pretty much the existing square footage and the existing general location. The shape of the property, the slopes on the property, the elevations don't lend themselves to a better landward relocation. You could move the house farther north, but this really is the best location for the sanitary system, and that should be located as far as possible from both of the wetlands. It's about 77 feet from the wetlands to the north and a little less than 50 to Fort Pond. When you look at moving the sanitary system east or west, it brings it closer to the pond. To the west also brings it in a lower elevation, which added some challenges for a new sanitary system to meet the 4-foot separation to groundwater. Obviously, the residence is extremely non-conforming to wetland setbacks. A larger footprint, a different configuration, really, in the planning department's opinion, became a poor candidate for greater relief. The house, I think, is the new house is about 38 square feet larger than the old house, and the coverage is about a 30-foot difference. Those are pretty nominal increases, and the setbacks are increasing roughly between 5 and 8 feet. I think the new house, the closest location is 28 feet on the eastern or southeastern corner of the property. To come back to the survey, there it was. It might be worth a little bit of a clarification. There's going to be an 8-foot a reduction in the access to the shoreline here, narrowing the existing clearing to an 8-foot width. There really isn't any revegetation in this corner here, and it might be worthwhile in developing that revegetation plan to fill that in, to clear it up a little bit and ensure that it's an 8-foot width. in areas like this, the planning department would recommend that the revegetation consist of the native shrubs that we see along the shoreline of Fort Pond, the ones that are adapted to the environmental conditions here, and ideally fairly deer-resistant plants like bayberry are among the most frequently recommended by the planning department because of their hardiness, their commercial availability, and their deer resistance. I don't think I have too much to add in the presentation. I think the constraints of the lot speak for themselves, and the development is as close to a reconstruction as you can get without rebuilding the actual house on the property. So I'd like to just make myself available for any questions if the members have them.
Thank you, Brian, and thanks for your work on this. The town was very was well written, as usual.
Well, the applicant deserves some kudos, some acknowledgement for taking the constraints of the property seriously.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Board members, any questions for Brian?
Yeah, just one clarification on the TAM. Brian, you referenced the survey dated 3/11/19. Did you mean 3/11/20?
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Yep, okay.
Thanks, Tim. Any other comments or questions, board members?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say that I visited the site as well, and it's, as you can see from the, we had the topo up, but the survey is fine. The building area, the area that you have to work in is very narrow, very small, and the slope down to the shore is extremely steep. So in the same sense of the last issue we discussed with the previous applicant, this is an area where we have to be careful you don't degrade along the edge of where that slope drops off. It wouldn't take very much to create a serious situation with vegetation sliding back down off that slope. A lot of what's there, some of it is invasive, but a lot of it is not that well established that construction wouldn't do some damage. So I asked the question about the modular because that is a way in which to do the minimum amount of damage, obviously, with a limited amount of time.
Yep.
I like that as a possible solution for the rebuild. But I also think, as we've said in other cases here, the restriction and in terms of the fencing and what we do to keep from damaging those slopes is really critical on this site. It really is. It's just this elevated knoll with a house on it, and in any other condition, if it was an empty lot, it would be unbuildable. So to protect that edge, I think we have to be very, very careful as we move forward on this one.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that comment, Ed. I agree. I'm sure we all agree with you. And I'm sure that Brian will work well with the applicants with regard to that, and also the infill that we discussed, if they're willing to do that.
And Mr. Chairman, and Ed, also the survey does outline the limiting fence. They do call out as a 4-foot fence with erosion material backing on it. So it does seem like they've covered it, Ed. I don't know if you picked that up.
No, I did, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Make sure.
I agree. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone saw the submission by the applicant. There is a construction protocol on page 7.
Yeah, I did.
That I guess we'll review and possibly make other suggestions if necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling, considering how they've handled this, if it's approved, I expect that it'll be overseen by the planning department, working with them on the re-veg plan. And as well, I have a feeling with the modular and just being a lift where the foundation's there and they just do a lift with a crane, as Ed noted, it can be minimal construction time. Anything else, board members? Okay, Katie or Brian, I don't know, you're not required to make a comment, but you're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. let's go to the public. Thank you, Nancy Lynn, for keeping me in check here. Matt, do we have a caller? Any public?
Yes, we do. We have one more caller.
Okay, great. Would you let them in, please? Thanks.
John Tucker, this is LTV. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Jonathan Tucker, architect with Resolution for Architecture, available to respond to any comments.
Okay, Jonathan, I'll go ahead and swear you in case there are any. Do you swear, if you raise your right hand, please, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, good evening. And I don't know if there are any, this is, I did look at this. This is a somewhat of a modular, correct, Jonathan?
That's correct.
Yep. And is that correct that you're going to be putting in a foundation and then coming with a crane for the lift? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. That's all. Go ahead.
Just to clarify, it's 2 modules, one stacked on the other.
Yep, I figured. Yep. I'm fine. Any other comments or questions, board members, for Jonathan? No? Okay. Thank you for being a part of this, Jonathan. Katie or Brian, anything from you all?
Nothing further to add.
Okay. Go ahead,
yeah,
Katie.
Well, Chairman, if you're okay with it, I'll just speak with the owner just to make sure he's okay with expanding the covenants and restrictions, and then we would submit just an updated survey.
Sounds great. Okay. So I will. Do you think you would have that be? In other words, it's going to take about 2 weeks for this to get 2 to 3 weeks or more to get on, and then we have 2 weeks after it gets on the website. Is that enough time for you, Katie?
Yeah, I think that's plenty of time. And if for some reason it's not, I'll submit a letter asking for.
Okay, and I expect, as we did the last one, I expect the board's okay with letting you work with Brian Frank on the specific species and that sort of thing. Okay.
Can I just get clarification for since she's got to talk with the client?
Yeah.
On this vegetative buffer, this is not an easement.
No.
So you're looking for a vegetative buffer to be maintained in
Exactly.
the area that's going to be on, and if species, if vegetation were to die off, then they need to revegetate in the area that's going to be on the diagram that's agreed to by or presented by the after working with our planning department. Is that correct?
As far as I understand it, that is correct. And Brian, can you take your cursor, basically, just so we're all, I believe what I understand is, which I think is a great solution here. Brian, I believe they're going to take that blue shaded proposed vegetative buffer and they're going to bring it landward to the line of the clearing. That's what we discussed, as far as I understand, correct, board members?
Yes, that's what I understand.
Yes, that's correct.
Great. Yeah. I think it's certainly going to help the application without a doubt. Thank you. Katie, anything else?
That's it. That's all I have.
What?
Go ahead. Katie? Okay, that's who you have. Okay. Okay, Terry, would you make a motion, please?
Sure. In the matter of Jonathan Endy at 11 Industrial Road in Montauk, tax map 300-27-3-13, I make a motion to close the public hearing, to leave the written record open for 2 weeks after the posting of the transcript of this hearing onto the town website.
Second.
Concur.
Concur.
And I concur as well. Okay. Thank you all for being a part of this and for your work. And Brian, thank you for your work on this application as well. That concludes that public hearing. And I believe board members and council, unless council, do you have anything else? I think we're pretty much.
I think we're set. We don't have anyone else on the line, right? Right, Matt? We're good?
0 callers. Thank you.
Okay, all right, good. I just make sure we didn't have anyone left hanging out there.
Yeah.
So we've had all of our public hearings, our modification, as well as our decisions, post-hearing decisions, and adopted a resolution. So I believe we've taken care of everything on our agenda for this evening.
Looks great. Again, thank you all. And again, we welcome Kyle to our group here. Vice Chair, would you like to make a motion then?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing of the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals for Tuesday, November 10th at 8:35 PM.
Second?
Concur.
And I concur as well. Thanks, Roy. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Brian.